My name is Raquel Hippolyte, and I will be presenting artworks depicting the iconography of Kronos, also known as Saturn, and the act of devouring his children. The artists that I chose all have unique backgrounds and qualities. It may be familiar to anyone taking Western art history this semester. Giovanni Jacopo Caraglio was born around 1500 in Italy and died on August 26, 1565 in Krakow, Poland. He was fluent in Italian, German, and Swedish, and was best known for being one of the first reproductive printmakers. While he collaborated with other artists, he was an Italian engraver, goldsmith, and medalist. Peter Paul Rubens was born on June 28, 1577, in Germany, and passed away from heart failure on May 30th, 1640, in Belgium. He was a Flemish Baroque artist that was fluent in Italian, Latin, English, and Flemish. While he had many talents, he was most known for Counter Reformation altarpieces and history paintings. Francisco de Goya was born in Spain on March 30th, 1746, and died in France, where he spent his final days in voluntary exile on April 16th, 1828. As a Spanish artist, he primarily communicated in Spanish, despite spending a lot of his time in France. Though his art was dark in theme, he was known for his small paintings of theatrical subjects. The iconography of all three artworks depict the Greek mythology of Kronos receiving a prophecy that one of his children will replace him as king of the gods. Upon receiving this prophecy, Kronos decides to eat his children one by one to avoid an untimely demise. His wife and Greek goddess Rhea grows weary and decides to trick Kronos by disguising a rock as a swaddled baby and feeds it to him. Kronos, never the wiser, believes he has defeated his fate, but unbeknownst to him, Rhea has taken their son and hidden him away in a cave on the island of Crete. As the child grows, his cries are camouflaged by warriors that mimic his wails with their thunderous shields, and thus Kronos never realizes he is alive. Until one day, when the child, who we know as Zeus, matures and returns to his home to defeat his father. Once again, Kronos is tricked and ingests a concoction that causes him to throw up his previously ingested children. Zeus defeats his father and frees his siblings from his belly and takes his rightful throne as king of the gods. The first artwork is by Giovanni Jacopo Caraglio, titled Saturn in a Niche Devouring His Son. This 1526 engraving is from Caraglio's series titled Mythical Gods and Goddesses. This series included 18 engravings, which is a process in which an artist takes to a copper plate using a tool with a lozenge-shaped tip, called a burin, which leaves a V-shaped groove. This artwork depicts Saturn in the act of eating one of his children. He is strong and his body is shaded. He is also depicted in front of his scythe, which is an indicator to the audience of who he is among the gods. The artist used strong symmetrical lines to depict an idealistic body, and included shading and contoured lines during the engraving process. The second artwork I chose is by Peter Paul Rubens, and it is titled Saturn Devouring His Son. This Baroque painting was created between 1636 and 1638 and was made by using oil on canvas. Rubens depicts a much older Saturn than the previous artwork and uses a naturalistic tone for his body. The artist also uses strong and dramatic colors to convey emotion from the art. He returns to classical Greek iconography and his influence from Michelangelo in his art. Saturn is large and takes up most of the picture plane. The three stars above the graphic scene depict Saturn as they knew it at the time. This is a subtle and informative nod to the audience so they can know who's depicted. My last artwork is by far my favorite of the three. This artwork is titled Saturn Devouring His Son by Francisco de Goya, a Baroque art piece created between 1821 and 1823 using oil on canvas. This is one of 14 black paintings that Goya created on the wall of his home. The piece was later transferred to canvas in 1873 by Émile Derlengur. Goya uses dramatic lighting on a blacked out background to depict deep emotion. In conclusion, all three artworks chosen depict Kronos, or as we know him now, as Saturn, in the act of cannibalism. He decides to eat his children to protect his throne, and each artist had their own unique way of depicting this act. Though there are many artists who have used this iconography in the past, I feel that these three specifically have the clearest depictions that convey the most emotion in their own unique way. I hope you enjoyed learning about Saturn and his children just as much as I did.